Welcome back, one and all, to another Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron. I am Adam.
And I'm Aaron. And this week, we are looking at part two of...
Part 2.
Bye Kenan.
Yes, the season 2 finale of Kenan and Kel, the 90s Nickelodeon sitcom.
The finale.
And it's a great finale, I'll say. Like the 1-2 punch of these two episodes is a real winner.
Adam and I may have some differing opinions on this episode and how it wrapped up part 1, but needless to say, we're back to form in Kenan and Kel here.
Yeah, we believe it or not, the show did not end after the second season.
I thought it might, the way last episode was headed.
Oh yeah, that could have been like a cliffhanger. Imagine if that was a cliffhanger.
Like Moody's Point, or what in the Amanda show.
You had to wait forever.
It's still floating away.
Joining Cooley on the big orange couch. I wasn't feeling the theme song this episode, just because it shows Kenan and Kel having a fun time when the end of last episode, the intro, really have a somber note to them.
Do you think they should have done what do you think they should have done? Just the recap of last episode, no theme song? They
should have showed the theme song title as they normally do, but with really simple white words on a black background, and you hear the sad Kenan and Kel theme over them.
Boom, boom, or just shots of Kel. Like they cropped Kenan out of every shot.
They put Kel's face over Kenan.
Kel's just having fun by himself. Yeah. Either would have been a little bit more appropriate, I agree, but that's a lot to ask.
Yeah, it is. Kel emerges on stage wearing his same outfit from the ending of Bye Kenan Part 1.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, it's like the green shirt and the hat.
It's the same day.
Yeah, it's really, you feel those vibes of just him. He's real lonely.
As we'll see in this episode, it's pretty much the same day. It is the same day, just in a different part of the country.
Which is a little disappointing. Let me put it this way: they could have done anything after the last episode. Absolutely anything.
They could have waited a little bit.
It could have gone in an entire drama direction. What if Kenan arrived at Pummis and it was great? It was a phenomenal time, and he's got a better friend there than Kel.
Well, Adam, we don't know what happened in this episode yet because we didn't talk about it.
No, we haven't.
Our viewers don't know what's happening.
No, I'm giving out a red herring, as they say.
Yes, that's what that is. That means you're doing a bad job.
Kel has to get the audience up to speed, so he summons a tube TV on wheels.
Which, if you grew up in the 90s and 2000s, you will recognize from the library in your school.
Yeah, you recognize from when the teachers have to show a film.
Oh, I miss those days. They were so much simpler. Now I just pull up Netflix or Amazon or Hulu and YouTube and just share my screen with my students, and it's so sad.
Yeah, I've been watching some old YouTube, and honestly, I'm happy I don't have to sit at a desk to watch a video anymore. I've got more options than that.
Yeah. I don't know. I miss these tube TVs on wheels, or as Kel calls it, the what does he call it? The cheap
pawn shop television machine.
Yeah. I missed the pawn shop part. That's funny. Anyways, they show the highlights of last episode and all the sadness of Kenan leaving Kel for Pummis, Montana, per his dad's wishes. In a very efficient 30 seconds, not 30 minutes. It was less efficient than the original episode. Yes, a very efficient 30 seconds. And at the end, the narrator says, "Next on part 2," and then it goes to static. So Kel is, what? Yes. What happens on part 2?
He starts cursing out the TV in a TV PG rated way.
That's right.
And he begs the TV the questions that the audience is left with, which is, what's happening to Kenan and Pummis? What will happen to me?
What will become of me, as he said last episode.
Yeah. And he says, here it goes, and pushes the TV away.
And then runs in the opposite direction. Yeah, it was very dramatic.
Some good choreography.
If Shakespeare had TVs, he would have put that in at some point. TVs on wheels.
Yeah. And we zoom in on a new building we've never seen before.
And you can guess where it is. It's in Pummis, Montana. As rolls across the bottom of the screen.
Oh, that rolls across the bottom of the screen for you?
Yeah.
I did not get that.
Oh, it absolutely does. Yep.
A new exclusive subtitle.
That's why I know how to spell Pummis. Pummis.
I looked it up to see if they were like joking on a real city. It's not a real place.
What?
There's no Pummis, Montana.
I guess they didn't want to make fun of a real place in Montana, but they practically made fun of the whole
state,
Western United States.
Yeah, well, have you been to Montana? Right?
Yeah.
How does this episode capture the vibe there?
There's some wood on the walls, and that's about it.
Yeah.
It's I mean, I understand like the mountain part of it, but yeah. Anyways, let's get into it.
The Rockmores kind of make a big announcement from the front door about their new home, and as soon as they enter it, they are offset by the terrible smell.
Yep, it's a dilapidated building. The wallpaper's falling off. The pictures are crooked, which I think is just a nice touch because like they don't have to be crooked, but they are. And there's pictures, and they're crooked.
Looks like dust everywhere. It looks like the world's worst Airbnb.
Yeah, no, it looks like a shady motel, but like in house form. And yeah, they're basically just like Mr. Rockmore's like, oh, we gotta air out this smell. Let me turn on the fan. So he turns on the fan, and of course it falls on his head, like, immediately. The first of... Did you count the number of things that fall in this house? Because
like a dozen.
Yeah.
Like, it's everyone's, like, really funny.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Non-stop jokes this episode. I know it's a funny one when I don't stop writing on my phone.
Yeah.
Just every time someone says a line, I write it down.
We should just do otter.ai on these episodes, which automatically transcribes voice to text.
Oh, that'll save me a lot of efforts.
We should do that for our fans on KenanandKel.com. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so if they do not have a CBS All Access account, we'll be able to deliver them the Kenan and Kel experience better than we're doing right now.
Yes. But that's not necessary, so let's continue.
After getting hit in the head, Roger turns to Kenan, and he's probably at the culmination of the number of head injuries that he's had this season. He says to Kenan, "I'm fine, Jessica, I'm fine."
Kenan's a little bit disturbed, but he's like, whatever. Kyra asks, where's the bathroom? And Kenan it smells like we're in the bathroom, which is a great line. And so then Cheryl points Kyra to where the bathroom probably is. And she enters, and what does she find?
A big old nasty bug.
Big old nasty bug. Kenan starts laughing at her like, oh, come on, it's just a bug, right? And yeah. you can see where it's going, like for the whole 30 seconds that this kind of like stacks up.
Yeah, I think it starts off in a pretty generic place, but it gets real funny.
Yep.
So yeah, Kenan goes in there and screams himself. You know, Kyra's like, "See, I told you," and Kenan's like, "You didn't say it was the size of a raccoon."
Mm-hmm. And then Cheryl's like, "Oh, come on, I'll go in, I'll take care of it." And Kenan's like, "No, you'll lose. I'll tell you, you'll lose."
which is awesome. I at this moment I had a realization to myself. I said, you know, maybe this is like the SNL stage of Kenan's career eventually, but he's like, he doesn't need Kel. He's plenty funny on his own too. Kel's great.
He's pretty
and
funny.
Adds to the comedy, but Kenan's also hilarious.
So you're saying for this one scene he's funny without Kel?
Yeah. Like if they're trying to sell me on Kenan and Kel doesn't work without Kel, I don't know. It's a pretty funny so far.
Yeah, the Rockmores are a dysfunctional bunch, doing their best to survive here in this little shack in Pummis. But anyways, Kenan's like, I'm going in there. He's basically preparing for war. And so he pulls out of his backpack that he took on the plane a hammer.
I didn't put that together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in 1997, you could just walk into a plane with a hammer.
You could. My friend's dad came back from Japan with a katana. On the plane.
Wow.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
So Kenan enters the bathroom with this hammer in hand, and it's slapstick behind closed doors. Like, he's just destroying the bathroom. Things are falling, clattering, but you don't see it. But it doesn't matter because it's still funny.
A big loud ruckus, and the sound effects are pretty neat. He emerges with the hammer broken in the shaft.
Yep.
He's like, now this means war, and he grabs a golf club.
Which seems like a worse weapon than a hammer, but longer range maybe. So anyways, this bug is serious business here in Pummis, Montana.
Yeah, he more sound effects in there. He emerges like halfway through the door as the bug was barely... It's like big enough to like boxing fight him, apparently.
He's like, don't worry, I got it. And then he goes back in. They're all like, Kenan, no. It's this big scene, like this big, yeah. Anyways, I was really like blown away at just like how funny it was, even though you couldn't see it. I thought that was good writing.
Yeah, it's very good. He kills the bug, ultimately. And what does he do? Flushes it down the toilet.
And as he flushes it, a shower of water falls on Mr. and Mrs. Rockmore and Kyra, who are standing like right behind the couch in the middle of the living room.
Yeah, as someone that's done plumbing design, I don't know why that's way above their heads for the toilet in this room.
I couldn't
it's
tell
like
you.
The water tank on the second floor.
Yeah, like, the water's coming from above. It's funny nonetheless, Adam.
Oh, it's great. No, yeah. What's really funny is Mrs. Rockmore takes off her hat, like before the water drops.
Yeah. We should probably point out they're wearing the same outfits. That's how you know. That's how I know it's the same day. They're wearing the same outfits as they were in Chicago.
Yep, Kenan's got like his Moses shirt on.
The Technicolor dream coat.
Yeah, Kenan emerges with a really, I was laughing at the golf club. It's really twisted and knotted.
Yep, and Kenan's like, man, this house stinks.
And he goes upstairs to check out his room to see if it's as bad as the rest of the house.
Yeah, and so he's walking up the stairs, and he's walking, and then he falls through the stairs, and everybody freaks out. Like everybody's like, oh my god!
The sound effect and the like visual effect are both great.
That's yeah. There's like an explosion of stair.
Yeah, bits of wood and like smoke and stuff like that come out.
Yep, and so Kenan emerges from the closet right below the stairs.
Yeah, and he says, "I found a shortcut to the closet."
As he's hiking up his pants that fell down. Finally, they fell down after all these episodes of wearing pants without a belt.
They hear a kind of a fading buzzing sound, which they realize is the doorbell. So I love that this house is so busted. It's just nothing is good about it. There's no feature that like works.
It's not good. And I don't know why they. I don't know. Was this wasn't before the internet? But like, how did you buy a house that you didn't? How did you buy a house that you didn't?
Well, I think they bought the house.
I don't know.
We learn a little bit more of the details of Roger's contract and what inspired this. But like he announced like 2 weeks notice that we're going to Pummis.
Also, like they got their stuff shipped from the house before they went out there to see it. Like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that must still like be on the way, right?
Why didn't they go to the hotel? Like go to a hotel first, and why didn't they go out to Montana? See where they were going to buy a house and then fly back. Like that would have been a much less of an investment. Anyways.
Yeah, zero planning.
The logistics of this episode really frustrate me because it's just silly.
I look past them.
Oh, okay. We look past that. Okay, fine.
Oh, well, hey, I have suspended my disbelief because I think the jokes are worth it. If they were in a hotel room for this scene, that'd be a pretty bad episode.
I think it could have been a couple weeks later. I don't know. Too much thinking.
Well, we had to introduce every aspect of the place. Anyway, but let's, for example, we meet their neighbor.
Yes, what's her name? Because I missed it multiple times.
Mrs. Blatt. Which is a real 90s Nickelodeon name.
Mrs. Blatt looks just like she sounds.
Yep, she's kind of this round old woman who brought along some people bring gifts to new neighbors, right?
Yes. Before you say that, she opens the door and basically is just like screaming at Cheryl.
It's like she's like a lunch lady that like
Yes.
invited herself into their house.
Yeah, it looks like she's wearing lunch lady attire as well. Like she's wearing this like coat on top of not even a coat. It looks like something you'd wear if you worked in a cafeteria.
Yeah, if she had a hairnet and gloves, like she would look no different.
Yes, that's exactly right.
So yeah, she's got a big old pot of mystery chili that she wants to share with her neighbors.
She basically like drives everybody into the kitchen. Like, and she has a plastic ladle and some plastic bowls, and she's just gonna feed these people as soon as she meets them.
Yeah.
Kyra is inquisitive, and so she asks, like, what's so mystery? What's the mystery? Or what's in the chili? And Kenan replies with, I think that's a mystery best left unsolved.
Yeah. When they first enter the kitchen, Kenan says, wow, nice kitchen. When was the tornado? Because it looks as ramshackle as the rest of the house.
Yep.
They did a really good job making this place look like truly crappy.
Yeah, they did.
Kenan goes to put away the rest of the chili, and the fridge door falls off.
He goes, Pops, this needs some adjusting.
By the way, if you notice Roger, he's really into the mountain like atmosphere. Like he's loving this mystery chili, even though none of the rest of the family likes it.
He's eating it with the ladle.
That's how much he loves it.
Yep, he loves it so much. Anyways, like she pours the chili out. We didn't mention this part, but she pours the chili out in the bowls, and it looks terrible. The whole thing is so like fast paced so far. Everybody's moving quickly. Mrs. Black comes in, everything speeds things up. It's almost like an accelerator.
The episode doesn't waste any time.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Worth mentioning, written by the Dream Trio, Eve, Kevin, and Dan. Same as the last episode, which, well, like, you know, I saw it ahead of time, but it really surprised me because these are two vastly different episodes.
Yes.
Yeah, which is, it's weird that they're always bundled the same, like together. Bye Kenan Part 1 and Part 2.
Yeah, they're very different. I mean, the stories go together, but they're very different.
I wonder if there's a better name for this one. Pummis Kenan.
Yes, that's it. Pummis Kenan.
Oh, man. Oh, boy, I nailed it.
Good thing they didn't have you in the room with them. I mean, too bad they didn't have you in the room with them.
Okay, first episode is Bye Kenan. Second episode is Hello Klebe.
Yes, because there's a knock at the back door as everything keeps speeding up, and in walks Mrs. Blatt's boy, Klebe Blatt. We suspect that's his last name.
Yes. He is a real yokel.
Wow, good word.
Even more than Mrs. Blatt.
He carries around a banjo. He's wearing bright green pants and a denim jacket with like a floral patterned shirt underneath.
He's got some real like kind of real curly hair too. Looks like real greasy.
He's like he's a ginger, but I don't understand the green pants. That like bright green.
It feels like a costume almost that he's wearing.
I mean, it surely is a costume. The banjo especially, but yes.
He's brought some sody pop for the rest of the Rockmores, which that's I wonder if that's a colloquialism.
Yeah, when you get west, it's pop. I know that. Mm-hmm. Maybe south too, but
I wonder if that's if that is in Chicago too.
Oh, I don't know.
But the episode was filmed in Florida.
Yeah, Florida, it's not. I don't think it's pop. I think I actually might go both ways. But up here, it's just soda.
Good notice that, well, Kel loves orange soda, but Montana, it's sody pop.
Right, but it's still orange soda.
He takes out several cans of soda, and one of them is orange soda, which makes Kyra lament.
I think, are you missing the part where Mrs. Blatt asks Kenan if he knows anybody in Pummis?
I am, yes, and Kenan does not.
Kenan does not, and she goes, oh, well, Klebe can be your new best friend, and then Klebe runs over to him and gives him a big hug. And it's very uncomfortable for everybody.
Yeah, so much so that Kenan offers him $5 to stop squeezing him.
To which Mrs. Blatt says, get off him, boy!
That's good money! That made me laugh.
Yeah, that was funny.
Kyra, seeing the orange soda, says, Kel loves orange soda. And Kenan has, I think, like, one of the most emotional moments, the most emotional moment of this episode, where he just kind of like really loses his appetite and gets sad and wallows into the next room.
Yeah, he goes back to the family room as everybody else is left with the mystery of the chili. So when he's in this other room, he's sitting there. He's all upset because Kel's not there. So he sits down on the chair, which, a plume of smoke arises, or dust.
Dust, not smoke.
Smoke.
It's not on fire.
It's on fire.
Yeah, a big old cloud of dust. And sad that he's lost his friend, he's kind of pulls out his memento, the orange walkie-talkie.
Which is still in his pocket. Again, the same day.
Same day. He hasn't seen Kel for like 6 hours.
Maybe more like 8, but yeah. I don't know. I don't know how the time frame works here. I'm not going to try to figure it out. Because apparently you're supposed to suspend your disbelief.
All right. You are perfectly allowed to critique the time frame because it's really wacky, especially with it's about to happen. Kenan turns on his walkie-talkie and talks into it.
And he says, "I really miss you, man." And there's a reply. "I really miss you too."
Kenan freaks out because it's Kel on the line.
He's like, "Kel, how does this work all the way from Montana to Chicago?"
And he says, "I'm not in Chicago. Go to your front door."
And you better believe it. Da da da. Kenan opens the front door and it's Kel. Yep.
Yeah. He like raises his arms like an exclamation, and his suitcase goes through like the wall.
Yep. Flies through the little panel there.
Yeah, and they have an awesome reunion.
It is awesome. After only a few hours.
No, but the audience is cheering. They're hugging each other.
It was a few hours, but for the audience, it felt like a long, long time because it was multiple days where they had when Kenan and Kel were apart.
Oh, to the viewing audience, it was a week with Christmas in the middle.
That's right.
Yeah,
Tragic.
Yeah. So,
in 1998. Tragedy. Or 1997.
Yeah, they start, after they shout, they kind of do a very casual, like, brush it off, like, "Oh, no, nice to see you. How are you doing?" And drop the facade and start hugging and screaming again.
Yep. And they love each other. It's very obvious.
Before we pass it too far, I want to say that I thought the walkie-talkie audio was awesome too. Just because like Kel sounds like he's really talking into a walkie-talkie.
He might have been.
Yeah. Like the effect, I don't think they could recreate that. Like that's a walkie-talkie audio.
Yeah, it was really good.
So the rest of the Rockmores enter the room. Kyra gives Kel a hug, and Mr. Rockmore's upset. "Oh, happy day."
Yeah, and Kel explains why he's there. He says, "Yeah, my parents let me go to Montana and to visit you guys for a little bit."
Yeah, they were happy for me to get out of their hair.
Mr. Rockmore goes, "I wonder why," or something like that.
Always fun when we hear a little bit about Kel's parents, because in this moment we learn that they're not exactly like him. They're almost as annoyed as he is.
That's right.
As the Rockmores are of him. Not only do the Rockmores enter, the Blatts do, and Klebe is immediately despondent that his plans for having Kenan as a best friend have fallen apart.
Yes, and so Klebe is very upset. It's like, "What? I thought I was your best friend." And Kenan's like, "Nope, you're not." And then Klebe and Mrs. Blatt both kind of like leave the room, like very upset. And Kenan gives one of these nonchalant like, "Okay," like, "All right."
Yeah, there's like a pause. Mrs. Blatt says, "Oh, you done hurt Klebe's feelings."
Right.
And she leaves. Then Kenan and Kel just stare at each other. Like, "So, how long are you in Chicago?" Yeah. So we learn about his schedule, and Kel goes to put his bag upstairs.
Yeah. He goes up the stairs and he falls. Everybody's like, "Kel, no, Kel, no." And he's just not even paying attention, walking right upstairs and falls right through, just like Kenan, and opens the door of the closet and screams, "Man, that was fun.
I'm doing it again."
Cartwheels. Yeah, I'm going to do it again. Cartwheels back up the stairs and does the same thing. Falls again, and everybody's just rolling their eyes.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was a good Kel moment.
Yeah, Kel's so happy to be reunited with Kenan. He's bouncing off the walls. We go to a new set. The Ranger Station.
if you want to call it that. Yes. So there's a man sitting there doing nothing, a goofy fellow, you might say, and his name is Roger walks in the door, and this man introduces himself as Ranger Herbert Whittle.
Yes. Played by the same actor as the Turkey Day episode, Jarvis Lode.
No way.
It's the same guy.
No way. He's like the mountain guy, the wilderness guy.
Yeah, he's a hick or he's a Montana wilderness man. It's like the same joke, too. Jarvis Lode, it's a weird first name, and like Lode because he delivers stuff. Whittle because he's like a wilderness guy, and Herbert kind of a weird name.
This is what he does. And so he introduces Roger to his new job, what he'll be doing for the next however many years he's a park ranger, his dream job.
He onboards him in about 2 minutes, and he explains that, well, when someone comes into the cabin,
You give him a brochure,
yep,
and that's it. So he gives Roger a box of 5,000 pencils and then says goodbye. And Roger's like, wait. What? That's all I do? Like, I came all the way from Chicago. And he's like, that's all you do. See ya.
What am I going to do with 5,000 pencils? Nothing.
Yep.
So
that's about it.
He kind of sits at the desk, kind of like rethinking all of his life ambitions.
I mean, I just am so frustrated at this whole thing. Like, who did he talk to on the phone? Like, what? Like, they didn't tell him a job description. Description. He just went out and just went for this job that he has no idea what it's about.
I think this is the difference here. I think I felt this way when I was like rewatched this episode, like high school, college era, and I'm like, it's kind of crazy that he did all this stuff. Nowadays, with my job experience, I am totally on Roger's side. I have gotten a job before that I was not what I expected whatsoever.
Well, me too, but
Yeah.
but still, it's like I don't know.
I've been at a job that I did not like, and like kind of stuck in a contract that like that's happened to me, and it's a very terrible feeling. So I'm definitely vibing with Roger. Kenan's school.
Yes, we go to
His
Kenan's
new
school, and everybody.
Pummis Academy.
Pummis Academy. There is a very stern, strict woman writing on the chalkboard as she's telling the class that there's going to be a new student joining them.
To your point about the mountain aesthetics, if you notice, the school room is kind of like got a wood-built feel to it too. I thought it was a nice touch.
Yeah, nice job they did here. Yeah, it looks like a cabin school. Anyways, so she's telling the class there's a new student. In walks not Kenan, but Kel.
Yes, and she's like, "Why are you late? And why are you not wearing the uniform?"
And Kel explains. He's like, "No, you don't understand. Like, Kenan's right behind me, but I just like he's a little embarrassed to come in. I'm his friend, something like that. I don't know. It's a very strange like moment, but
Yeah. And she says, "Poppycock."
yeah." And Kel's aghast.
What's your language? There's children here. Kenan enters, and all the kids laugh at him because he looks very silly in his outfit.
His uniform does not fit, and for some reason he has this one top button of his sweater buttoned, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He looks absurd. Anyways, he takes a seat in the back of the classroom, and so does Kel. Kel, who feels so comfortable there in Pummis that he puts his feet on the desk. Just lounging.
Yeah, I like how this strict teacher who like literally says to Kenan, like, since it's your first day, you won't be punished for being tardy. Is totally fine with this total stranger in her classroom.
Yep. So with his feet on the desk. And then one of my favorite moments of the episode.
It's amazing.
She says, "We're working on vocabulary today, class. Can somebody use the word," and she writes it on the board as she's saying it, "officiate in a sentence." And
Yes.
Kenan raises his hand.
And he says, "A man got sick because of officiate."
And Kenan and Kel are losing it. Like, they are cracking up, and nobody else is. Not even the other students.
Yeah. That's an amazing punchline. Right? Like
It was really good.
for all the bubblegum jokes in the world, like that's the best one I've ever heard.
It is not bad.
But the teacher is not getting it and very upset.
Comedy will not be tolerated at Pummis Academy. And I think we've all been there at Pummis Academy at sometime in our life.
Another funny note that we jumped over here. Her name. Did you write down her name?
Oh no.
It's a misnomer.
Oh.
A little English joke for everyone out there.
That's a good one, kind of. Also, she's writing in this like fluorescent pink chalk, and it makes me upset.
Yeah, the sound when she wrote officiate on the board like sent very bad vibe, like PTSD vibes to me.
Yep. Yeah, students do not like the chalkboard. When I was in the classroom earlier this year, I used the chalkboard a little bit. Oh, it was bad. I'm like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, there's two like PTSD items that hit me from like school. One's the chalk. The other one's like, for some reason, like I guess it's the teachers that we had, like heels on hardwood.
Oh yeah, hard, just like, walking down the hallway.
No. This is someone at one of my jobs like made that sound as they walked across the office, and I could not stand it.
Yeah, it's pretty traumatic. Anyways, we go to commercial break, and it's pretty clear that nobody likes Pummis, Montana.
Yeah, Kenan, he says to Kel, we gotta get out of here.
And he's like, you're gonna help me. So we are back at the house, and Mrs. Cheryl Rockmore and Kyra are painting the banister going up the stairs. Of all the things to fix in that house, I don't know if that was the first one, but it certainly looks good.
It does. It's looking great. Until it falls into the family room.
To quote Kyra from the previous day, Cheryl says, "Man, this house bites."
Yeah. Kenan arrives through the door. And when I say through the door, I mean through the door. Because he takes the door off with him. I mean, Kenan usually looks pretty big, but against this door that he just obliterates as he tries to open it, he looks very large. The door just falls over. Yeah. I think his tiny uniform also adds to that effect.
That's probably true.
So yeah, he explains about how bad school was, and Kyra says that Pummis sucks beans.
Cheryl's basically like, guys, but your father, I think that's what she says. It's like your father, and he's at his job, his dream job.
We have to be strong for him.
And in walks Roger, who says,
Pummis sucks beans.
And everybody is not having Pummis, Montana. But so Kenan tries to like convince Roger, like, Dad, let's go back to Chicago. And he reveals that, well, he can't. He's basically in a 2-year contract, and there's no way he can back out of it.
And more than that, he's in a 2-year contract, and he gave his word.
Oh yeah,
that's a nice aspect of Roger that we haven't seen before.
He's honorable.
Yeah. So, and I wanted to point that out. This is a good Roger episode. And it really, as we're about to see, kind of completes an arc for Roger across this whole season. Which I was surprised. I didn't think it would. I thought it was just going to be the same grumpy forever.
He's kind of becoming this central character in Kenan's life, and not just like this annoying parent.
Yeah, if you think about it, he was the villain in the last episode. like he was the antagonist. He made them move. But now he is, like, we're on his side. He is, like, you feel for him.
Commiserate. You can commiserate together in their hate for Pummis, Montana.
Absolutely. He wants to go upstairs and take a hot shower, and hot bath. Apologies.
And he basically says, I am not leaving this spot no matter what. Sorry, I just had to get that out. And, yeah, he walks up the stairs, and everybody's like, wait, you can't go up the stairs, you're gonna... And he falls.
Right into the closet, presumably. Kenan and Kel start scheming in the kitchen.
A plan or a plot to make it to the top.
And the top being the Sears Tower in Chicago.
Hey, stop bringing that episode up every single time you can.
I didn't even mean it that time. You did!
You just want it to be the best episode ever.
Well, I think when you said the top, I thought, all right, how do I make Chicago work?
That's in the theme song.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. The top is Chicago, and the highest point of Chicago is the Sears Tower. All right, I'm sorry.
Are you telling me the top isn't the Rocky Mountains?
What? No.
That's where they are right now, in Montana, in the Rocky Mountains.
The Sears Tower may be higher.
No. You know how high those mountains are? Some of them are like 10,000 feet. The Sears
They're
Tower
pretty
is
enormous.
not 10,000 feet.
Well, I can't find Pummis, Montana on the map, so it's
You know what?
it's up for debate.
Take the lowest spot in Montana, and it's a mile above Chicago.
Well, I'll tune in to the season recap to find out the stats on
You
this.
can find that out. All right. Anyways, Kenan rushes to the kitchen, and him and Kel are trying to figure things out.
They are interrupted by who at the back door?
Klebe, who changes his name to Roger.
Yeah, he's like, "It's me, your best friend, Roger."
Does he say Roger or Robert?
Robert, that's it.
Yeah, because I was going to say, that's weird that he changed his name to his dad. Like, what is he trying to get at? The deeper Klebe here.
And he's like, "I thought your name was Klebe." He's like, "Oh yeah, it was." So he's so kind of yokel-y, he forgot his own name.
Yeah, or he's trying to put on a front.
Or he could be in witness protection. Perhaps Robert witnessed something that he shouldn't have, and he was sent by
that is a very good theory, because if you're going to send people somewhere, it's Montana. Or Dakota. It's north or south.
Pummis, Montana. Yeah, you'd never be found.
Somewhere out there. That's what they do. That's what they do.
That's why he's wearing like an off-the-shelf costume.
It's quite possible. Anyways,
He asks Kenan if he wants to go down to the creek with him and pick up some sticks.
and Kenan looks at him with this look like, "Are you joking?" And Kel goes, "Ooh, sticks! Sticks are fun. I like sticks."
Yeah, Kenan very politely raises a finger and says, "I'm sorry, I don't want to play with sticks, Klebe. Please leave." But Kenan gets an idea, says, "Wait!"
Yeah.
And Klebe's just like, "Okay."
He says, "Oh, what are you doing tomorrow?" And then Klebe gets this big smile on his face, like he
And starts giggling.
like he's so excited to finally be invited somewhere for the first time in his life, or for the first time in this new life as a witness protection person with a new identity.
Yeah, maybe he's gone like crazy, living in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the stereotype. The people I met in Montana were pretty nice. Nobody really lost it. But then again, I didn't meet the people way out in the middle of the woods.
Well, it depends on what Robert was doing, I guess is what I'm getting at.
You mean Klebe?
No, if Robert was living in a city, and then he was witness protection relocated
This is too far down the rabbit hole, right? Robert is actually in an elaborate scheme where Mrs. Quagmire had kidnapped him. Like, yeah, let's just throw all the conspiracies together.
Oh man. Okay. So we cut back to the ranger station, where Roger has constructed several Sears towers of his own.
With those
pencils.
With those 5,000 pencils. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is another thing that Roger likes to do. He loves his crafts.
Oh, that's a great point, because of like the White House.
The White
remember?
House, the puzzles.
Yeah.
Roger likes crafts, which is kind of against his persona.
That said, he did exactly what I would have done in his position.
Yes.
Yeah, so but maybe that's also why I'm vibing with him.
Lincoln Log Towers here.
So Kenan and Kel arrive, presumably after school, and he is ecstatic to see both of them. Which, Roger's doing bad when he's excited to see Kel.
Yeah, he gives them both a giant hug, squishes Kenan in the middle, and he's basically asking them, "What are you guys doing?"
Yeah, a big bear hug.
Very good choice of words.
Because as they're describing how bad work sucks and how bad school sucks, what appears behind them?
A bear.
Yes, a bear is behind them, and you can see it through an open window. And how would you describe this bear?
Very human looking.
Yeah, he's kind of wearing he looks a little hard. Like it might be kind of like hard plastic.
Like paper mache. It's not a bear. It is a human dressed up in a bear costume. But it's Kenan and Kel. And there's wildlife. So we're paying attention. All right. There's a bear through the window trying to grab all of the stuff inside the cabin. Because that's just what bears do, They walk like humans. They try to grab things like humans.
And Roger proceeds to freak out. like loses his cool with this bear.
Yes, he loses his cool. Everybody starts throwing stuff at this bear. They try to like get him out.
Well, yeah. There's it's like the scene wanes and flows a little. First, Kenan's like, close the window, and he does, and the bear like punches through the glass and.
And then they start throwing stuff at him, and then he punches through the wall and through the log cabin a couple times, and they're throwing stuff at him, trying to get him away. Now, this is why I'm suspicious, because he's a park ranger in Montana. If you go to Montana, not even if you're a park ranger, like when I went to Montana, like they're like, hey, this is bear spray. This is what you do if a bear approaches you. Like everybody who goes to Montana, like gets this talk from somebody. It's like,
oh yeah, it's bear country.
Yeah, you know how to react when there's a bear there. Now, I understand Roger's hesitancy, but he should have had some bear spray.
Yeah, it seemed like really like not only is this a bad job for him, it seems like a bad job in general. Like his boss didn't explain anything.
No, nothing.
Not even a little bit.
No. Didn't even tell him where the bathroom was. No coffee or anything.
You literally see their interaction, and it's a minute long. And they leave. But to your point, after they like fight off the bear with like a flag and like a broom is eventually what Roger has. You hear a voice in the distance that says, "Shoo, bear, go back to your bear cave now." And it's Ranger Whittle who kind of shoos the bear away. So that felt like a very genuine Montana moment. Like a true park ranger there would be unfazed by a bear.
Everybody respects the bears. They respect them.
Yeah.
They're everybody, if you see a bear, it's like, whoa.
Maybe they have a spoken arrangement.
I suppose. I don't like the bear moments. These are clearly people who have never been in bear country. It's very poorly executed, but anyways, it's pretty funny for Kenan and Kel. And I mean, we're talking about other bears besides the Chicago Bears. So it's
yeah. There's some Chicago youths. The Chicago Bears are their only experience with bears.
That's right.
Yeah, they're city boys. So, Ranger Whittle arrives, and Roger has his greatest acting moment of the series so far, where he breaks down in tears at the big scary bear.
Yes, and Ranger Whittle is like, you call yourself a park ranger and you're afraid of a bear. And he basically, like...
Are you afraid of a 1,000-pound killer bear?
Roger goes, yes! And he basically sees how the whole cabin has been destroyed, and he basically fires Roger.
Roger, like, admits that he wet his ranger pants.
Kenan and Kel go, ranger pants.
So, yeah, he's like, wait, you're firing me? Because I'm afraid so. And he realizes that this has freed him from his contract. And he kisses Ranger Whittle. And he turns to Kenan and Kel, and they all start celebrating that they can now travel back to Chicago.
And Ranger Whittle says, you crazies, and then basically leaves.
I hope you're not too upset, as they're going back to Chicago as soon as they can hop on a plane.
And so Ranger Whittle leaves, and the bear...
The bear returns.
The bear comes back. He has not gone to his den. And so Kenan and Kel are like, pop, pop, pop. And he's freaking out. And he's like, pop, pop, pop. You got to understand something. Like, you see, that's not a bear. Like, we had Clebe dress up as a bear and come and scare you.
Yeah, I was hoping that you would quit. And with, like, a really smart line from Kel, which he doesn't normally get. But he says, yeah, we didn't think you'd get fired. We were just lucky.
Yep. And so Roger's like, you did that for me?
It's kind of like the Chris vibe from was it Bag and Sag and Kel, where he's like, he's happy that their scheming like worked out for him,
right?
And so then they all start cheering that it happened. and what happens next?
Clebe walks through the door with a bear costume on, and
like a really fake bear costume.
A really fake bear costume, and it looks like a cartoon face who's like smiling. He says, "All right, I'm ready to be the bear now."
Which, when I first saw this scene, like, on the treadmill years ago, I lost it. This is... the way it's framed, like, Kenan and Kel's reaction.
It's a pretty awesome moment.
It's hilarious. They freeze, and then they silently say to each other, Kenan says, "Everyone, I'll meet you in Chicago!"
And they all run out the door.
Leaving the bear to kind of terrorize the cabin empty.
And that's our episode.
Kel leaves on stage with his orange shirt, and he says, "Look who's back in Chicago!"
Out from behind the curtain comes the brightest cyan shirt you'll ever see in your life. It is Kenan Rockmore dressed to the nines.
Yeah. Kenan is like, doing little dance moves, and they're talking about how this show is going to be going on forever.
Forever and ever.
Nothing's stopping it.
Nothing ever. Just like this podcast.
Yeah. As someone that's talking about this episode 23 years after it aired, I gotta say, it's got some longevity.
It's still going on. Somebody cares enough about it to talk about it.
So, not only someone else emerges on stage, it's Klebe.
Good old Klebe with his banjo, his part of his uniform.
He's asking Kenan if he wants to play with sticks with him.
And Kenan says, no, but do you like motorcycles and barbecue sauce?
And yeah, he's all, "I love me motorcycles, and I love me some barbecue sauce."
And Kenan says, why don't you get a helmet and a sponge and meet me at the dog track?
Come on, Kel. And Kel says, "What does motorcycles and barbecue sauce have to do with each other? It's so vague."
And there's like a long pause.
Kenan! Klebe! Here it goes.
Oh,
Back to
here it
normal.
goes. Yep, back to normal.
So, Aaron, I gotta ask you, whose fault do you think this episode is? Kenan's or Kel's?
Nobody's. It's a good episode. That they have success is what I mean.
I've got a side counter here. This is one of their successful schemes.
Yeah.
Or is it?
It's pretty successful. Well, I mean...
Well, it wasn't Klebe.
It was a bear.
Well, maybe that's worth noting. If their plan had gone, off, Klebe probably wouldn't have scared Roger in a very obvious costume.
So it wasn't really that successful.
Tangentially, they won. It's a winning episode. Everyone wins.
Everyone wins.
Yeah, and like I said, we saw Roger's arc. He made a decision. He tried to follow his dreams. And it's not that he was punished for that, but he didn't, plan things all the way through. I think that's a good lesson for kids.
Yeah, I mean, he saw an opportunity, and he jumped on it without seeing what it actually was. And so maybe that tells us, hey, just make sure you cross all your T's and dot all your I's, and don't sign a contract before you know what you're getting yourself into.
Oh, that's a great moral right here.
Yeah.
Don't sign a contract unless you know what you're getting into.
Especially if it means uprooting your entire family. Making a big change for something you don't know is going to work. It's like that
for 2 years.
I don't want to say don't take a risk, but maybe go visit first.
Yeah, meet your boss.
Yeah.
And do your homework.
That's right.
Like if you want to be a mountain ranger, see what it is mountain rangers do.
Yes.
Or else you'll wind up in a cabin doing nothing.
I can tell you, mountain rangers. So I know somebody who's a forest ranger, which is different than a mountain ranger because you have like concrete land that you have to care for. Mountain rangers are more so tour guides and people who tell you you're doing things wrong when you are, but they're also super knowledgeable. So they're incredible resources for you. So if you're in a park and there's a ranger, usually they don't call them mountain rangers, they're just rangers. They can give you everything you need to know about certain things, and they make sure situations don't escalate. They make sure people don't ride bison, which happens. And then people get hurt. And so, yeah, they're very essential resources. Most of them don't just sit in a cabin, and there's usually a team. But
I think a good version of this job would be hands-on experience. He and Ranger Whittle would go out and about, and he'd learn things on the job.
Yes, that is probably what he would get.
So
because the older, tired people, or the people who are just waiting in their last days, would probably be doing what he's doing.
Yeah, maybe he got one of those jobs mistakenly. He got the receptionist ranger job.
Yeah. Oh well, poor Roger. Anyways,
he lost his job, but without turning back on his word, which I thought is a win for him, if you ask me.
Yeah. He got what he wanted.
Yeah.
Things work out.
And as we learned, he's able to return to Chicago and get the same house.
Yep, same house.
They probably didn't like foreclose on it. Like they're selling it on the market and whatever. Just took it off the market. First episode ever without Rigby's grocery store.
Or Chris.
Yeah, or Chris. Do you think this episode was missing Chris?
Yes. Yes.
You think he should have arrived with?
I think they tried to
Kel?
replace Chris with Klebe, and it just didn't work.
Yeah. Kenan says that after, like, as soon as he meets Klebe, he's like, Kenan and Klebe, like, presuming that that's going to be the next show. I think it's crazy how many, like, C and K names this show has.
Yeah.
Let's get into the final ratings here.
8.
So, 8 bottles of orange soda?
I jumped on it. I don't want the whole spiel. I give it 8 bottles of orange soda. It was okay. I laughed twice. I didn't cry. It's just it was okay. It was an okay finish to the season. I think the season was way better than this episode was. So I give it an 8.
All right. This episode on IMDb has an 8.3. So a little bit better than what you gave it. And it's ranked number 4 in the entire series.
I just don't buy it.
I don't like that either. I like this episode more than you did, but for me, that's crazy talk. It like top 5.
It does no way.
I think it really rides the coattails of Bye Kenan Part 1.
Oh, absolutely.
People remember that super sad episode. They tune in for this one and really kind of give it an unfair praise. That said, I have to give this episode a good rating. And I personally liked it better than the last one.
I just can't believe that.
I don't know. The last one, it was sad. It didn't feel like Kenan and Kel to me. It meant a lot, but if it came up to this moment, as we said earlier in the show, it's like, anything could have happened after the last episode. And I didn't stop laughing. Every time the house fell apart more, I liked it.
All right.
I'll give it a 9.5.
Oh, my God.
Let's reevaluate scores.
No, I'm joking.
Next episode.
Yeah, we'll work it out.
Speaking of which, next episode is our season 2 recap, where we go through like our favorite episodes of the season, our least favorites. We play a fun trivia game.
Oh, great!
Fun with quotes around it.
I am not looking forward to this.
No, but maybe you should, audience, if you enjoyed the last one. It got the same number of views as all our other episodes, so. People tuned in. I'm happy to hear it. I thought people, once you take out Kenan and Kel episode, they would not like us.
Hey, you know what? The people are here for Kenan and Kel, and that's what we're giving them. So a week without Kenan and Kel is no good for them.
Well, like I said, the ratings disagreed. They like us too.
That's right.
So thank you everyone for listening to us and this whole episode.
Thanks for not giving up on Kenan or Kel this season, for sticking there with them, and for sticking there with us. We appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And until next time, here it goes. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron. If you want to stay in touch, send us an email at KenanKelPodcast@gmail.com, or you can send us a voice message at anchor.fm/KenanKelPodcast. Our social media accounts are all at KenanKelPodcast. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks, everybody.
There's an open window with a bear kind of walking around. Sorry, hiccups.
Oh my gosh. Take a break. Don't try to talk through them. What are you doing?
No Zevia today either. That's crazy.
What are you doing? You're trying to podcast through hiccups?
What?